Hey, this is Daniel with the Nostril, and today I want to talk about an absolute modern classic. This fragrance is from the house of Hermes, and it is one of the few offerings that is explicitly targeted to men during the modern era of Hermes perfumery. The fragrance was created by master perfumer Jean-Claude Ellena, and of course, you may have guessed by now, I am talking about Terre de Hermes Eau de Toilette. This absolute classic of a perfume is a citrusy, vetiver, earthy, delicious, mass-appealing scent. And I'm going to talk about the notes. I'm going to talk about its versatility. I'm going to talk about where you can get it, its pricing, and my general thoughts on the scent. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about it today. If you were to ask me about my favorite designer fragrance house, my answer is probably going to be Hermes. And in particular, the reason why Hermes ends up being my favorite designer house is almost less about the house itself than it is about the perfumer who worked there during most of the house's modern perfumery era. I'm talking about Jean-Claude Ellena. Terre de Hermes is one of his most famous creations, probably his most famous creation for men. The only other scent that would compete with it in terms of accessibility and popularity might be Cartier's Declaration, the original. But I think this has made more of an impact in the fragrance community. It certainly has spawned more admiration and praise. And I think it's still, I still find this in Sephora and Macy's and department stores everywhere. It is become kind of a fixture of the mainstream fragrance community, and it is a beautiful scent that deserves every bit of that. In terms of note breakdown, let's just get right into it. This is the signature note of this scent is an earthy orange supported by a grassy, earthy vetiver. It's a little bit dirty. I have it sprayed on my wrist right now. I sprayed it about 20 minutes ago. So I'm about into the midpoint right now. And the main sense that the fragrance gives you is of a clean yet earthy orange vetiver, a little bit of patchouli to earthy, dirty it up a little bit. It's absolutely gorgeous. And this is gorgeous from opening until dry down, if you ask me. The fragrance does change quite a bit. The bottle's also it is just classic magnificent, if you ask me. Clean glass, the way that they've used the colors of the house orange for the title just looks amazing to me. I don't know if that's zooming in properly or not. The little orange accent of the H on the bottom of the glass part of the bottle, and then the cap. The cap just twists down, spray, up to lock. Just clean, minimalistic design that kind of hints at the way that the fragrance feels itself. So I'm going to spray it on my hand here, and we're going to talk a little bit about the opening, because the opening is just this sparkling, beautiful masterpiece. It's art. All right, it's a good sprayer. Hermes never lets me down with that kind of stuff. Good diffusion, tons of liquid comes out when I spray. Yeah, so the very beginning you get earthy orange that sparkles a little bit. It's spiced up too by black pepper. Vetiver is there to add a grassy, slightly earthy note right at the very beginning. And then there's immediately the woody base of the scent is kind of making itself known right away. It's cedar. It's not a pencil shaving cedar. It is a clean, slightly sweet, but smooth cedar. Now, the notes say cedar, and I'm willing to believe that there's a little bit of actual natural cedar extract in here. But it's clear that this is a fragrance that makes heavy and brilliant use of the aroma chemical ISOE Super. There's just no question. I think actually Jean-Claude Ellena has gone on record to say that he used a massive amount of ISOE Super in this scent. And that is impressive because it doesn't smell like your generic ISOE Super fuzzy woods scent. There's a little bit of that in the background, but the way he's blended the orange and the vetiver and the patchouli, there's also benzoin, just a little bit of that vanillic resin benzoin in there. The way he's blended that top make this fragrance just smell utterly unique for a men's designer. And really even, you know, if this scent profile came out today, you know, there was no history of this, and this came out today from a niche house, I'd love this. I wouldn't be disappointed in its quality. I wouldn't be disappointed in its artistry. I think this is just a crowning achievement of perfumery, full stop, both in the designer and niche worlds. Now, as this begins to dry down, the sparkling aspect of the citrus kind of reduces a little bit, and that of course makes sense. It's citrus. There, I'm pretty sure there's natural citrus extract or natural citrus ingredients in here, and citrus is such a volatile substance that it tends to be the note that kind of disappears first. That's certainly true here, but there's something about the way that your nose and brain are primed to remember the smell that keeps that orange scent lingering in your brain. Even though that sparkling citrus isn't at the forefront anymore, you're still remembering it somehow. And that's, again, I think to Jean-Claude Ellena's credit, he's somehow creating ghost notes in this scent. The orange is there at first, and then if you really kind of rationally smell it later on, the orange is totally faded, but yet somehow I still smell the memory of orange or something like that. Maybe that's overly romantic or melodramatic of me, but it's totally, that's what's happening here. As the fragrance dries down, it becomes a little bit more earthy, never too dirty. It does have a dirty aspect to it, and that, you know, that may turn some folks off. Maybe folks that are below the age of 25 or so might feel this is a little bit too mature, sophisticated for them. I don't know. I loved this smell before I was 25, but I'm the Nostril, so I'm weird when it comes to smelling things. The patchouli in here is great. It's got almost, he's using patchouli almost like one would use oak moss. And it gives the scent a kind of sweetness that blends with the earthiness that makes that earthiness really palatable, if you ask me. I read lots of reviews that talk about this being kind of a dirty, rotten smell. I don't get that at all. I mean, the smoothness of the patchouli with the cedar, with the vetiver, really just, you know, whatever dirtiness, earthiness is in here is so pleasant and so accessible. And in terms of the vibe that it gives off, this to me is, I think I put it to a friend one time, this is the smell of friendly, healthy masculinity. Now, I don't want to get into the details too much about gender and fragrance, but I do think that as a scent for men, this doesn't scream toxicity. It screams care and consideration, thoughtfulness and self-assurance. You know, if you watch many of my reviews, I tend to gravitate towards scents that kind of eschew that, you know, overly toxic, overly macho, masculine presentation. There's nothing wrong with being macho, but there's a problem when a scent or an idea or a vibe tends to insist that there's only way to be masculine. And this, it doesn't do that. What this does is let the scent speak through or with your body chemistry. So your personal kind of body chemistry is going to transform the scent in a way. And that's kind of one of Jean-Claude Ellena's signatures, that kind of impressionistic, transparent style. To let you speak through the perfume rather than the perfume kind of speaking for you. I love that about this scent. It still smells, this could have been, again, this could have been released this year and I would be totally pleased with it as a modern offering. I don't think this smells dated at all, even though it is running on 15 years old now, I think. It's pretty old, but it smells up to date. And also timeless in a weird way. I think this has gone through a few reformulations, but I don't think that the reformulations have butchered it in any significant way. I think that this smells as good as the first time I smelled it, maybe 8 years ago now. Just absolutely lovely. And I just want to point out, look at just some of the details of this bottle are fantastic. I love the metal plate at the top. It kind of, even when you're looking at it straight on, it just gives this element of easy, simple, minimalistic sophistication to the bottle. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gushing about this scent. It's so lovely. And in terms of wearability, really year-round, I don't think I'd recommend wearing this in the hottest days of summer or the coldest days of winter. It may become slightly overpowering on really hot days, and it may get lost in the chill on the coldest days of winter. But spring, summer, fall, winter, and kind of the milder days on either end of the spectrum for fall and winter, this is going to work. Totally work appropriate, but also works really well casually, works really well semi-formally. Don't know if I wear this formally. It's maybe a little more casual than that. The Parfum version of Terre de Hermes might work a little bit more formally. I will do a review of the Parfum version at some point, and maybe do a review of the entire line, all 4 releases in the Terre de Hermes line so far at some point in the future. But in terms of who can pull this off, age-wise, I've already mentioned, I think it may lean slightly mature, so 25 plus. But this is also readily recognized as a unisex perfume. I know women who wear this and it smells amazing, as amazing on them as it does on me. If you are a man, if you are a woman, and you want to exude easy, friendly self-confidence, sophistication, self-assurance without toxicity, I think this is an amazing choice. Really, I mean, orange, cedar, vetiver, patchouli. How do you go wrong with those ingredients, especially when they are blended by Jean-Claude Ellena? And this is available it's so inexpensive right now on discounters that it's a no-brainer to have in your collection if you're over the age of 25, if you ask me. I see bottles of this, a 3.4 ounce bottle, going for about $50 on discounters on eBay, Fragrance X, Fragrance Net, Fragrance Buy, about $50. I often see the huge bottle, the 6.7 ounce, which is twice the size of this, going for around $75. Sometimes it's a tester, sometimes there's a damaged box, but otherwise, I mean, if you don't care about the box, and honestly, just go for it. I mean, this is not a hard to find or prestigious enough perfume to, need full presentation for it to get its full value. The bottle speaks for itself. So get a tester. The cap will come with it. It always does, because you can't actually take the cap off. It only just screws down and screws off. So your presentation on your shelf isn't going to be missing anything if you buy a tester. And just get this in your collection. It's one of the staples in my collection. I will never be without it. Definitely in my top 3 designer fragrances of all time. Easy reach, easy wear, and every time I wear it, I say to myself, damn, I should wear this more often. It smells amazing. I hope you have the same impression too. I don't see how you wouldn't. This is so classy, such a towering achievement for the House of Hermes and for Jean-Claude Ellena. 10 out of 10. Easy 10 out of 10 for me. If there are any questions about this scent that I have not answered for you, please feel free to leave a comment below. I will get back to you, answer your question, give you a few more of my thoughts. And I encourage you, if you are a perfume enthusiast, if you are a collector and you don't have a bottle of this in your collection, solve that problem. It's inexpensive, totally worth it. Beautiful, sparkling orange with an earthiness, cedar woody base with patchouli support, a little bit of benzoin to sweeten things up. There's a floral note in it called pelargonium, I think, but honestly, I don't know what that smells like, so I don't know if I detect it too much or not. But this is worth having in your collection. So thanks for watching. Thank you for tolerating my gushing about my love for Terre de Hermes. And we'll see you next time. Talk to you soon.